Okay, so this is the automation tutorial video number 3. We're going to talk about VCA automation specifically as it relates to Pro Tools. Okay, so a VCA is simply a remote control fader. That's all it is. VCA stands for voltage controlled amplifier, and in a analog console, like say an SSL, or really any analog console that has some sort of automation, that automation is VCA automation. It might be controlled by a computer, it might be controlled by motorized faders, it might be controlled by any number of control systems, but the mechanism that makes the volume go up and down is a VCA, which is basically an op-amp, and it's controlled from a voltage. And that voltage comes into the VCA, and then the volume goes up or down based on if it's a voltage that's going in an upward direction or a voltage that's going in a downward direction. That information, that data, is stored in a computer. And since Pro Tools is a computer, Pro Tools does a great job of storing that information, and it does so on the automation lanes as we looked at earlier. Okay, so let's take a look at what VCA automation would mostly be used for in a mixing environment. You would use VCA automation to create the volume envelope, so to speak, of your moves, your rides on, let's say, like a vocal, guitar solo, or something that needs to go up and down during the course of a mix. Things that you probably wouldn't use VCA moves for would be, say, something like drums, which are going to stay the same throughout the entire song, or bass, which is probably going to stay the same all the way through the song, although maybe you might have a slight dynamic nuance on a bass track, which of course can be handled with clip gain most of the time anyways. Again, also by splitting tracks up from sections, that gives you independent faders, so you don't really have to necessarily use automation just to make, say, the chorus louder than the verse, or the bridge softer than the chorus, or something that's obvious that you would do in pretty much every song. That's why I tend to just simply separate all the sections up into different banks of faders to make that part of mixing much simpler. But where in the case of where you're going to do rides, you're going to need to do VCA. So let's go ahead and add a VCA fader. What we're going to do is we're going to just do some rides on, we'll work on this chorus here, or maybe we'll do a little bit of rides on the lead vocal. So let's go ahead and add some VCA faders. I'm actually going to add a couple. So we go to New, and we're going to add, let's add like 3 VCA faders. Okay, so there they are. So now what we're going to do is we're going to assign each of these VCA faders to different parts of the song. So here we have the verse. Here we have chorus, lead vocal, and then there's this intro, breakdown, whatever you call it, sort of like a post-chorus is what that section really is. And here's all the harmonies, etc. So if I want to do, say, rides on the lead vocal, I could gang all of these. If I've already got the blend of these vocals working pretty well, I could just go ahead and gang all of these. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look a little bit more, a little bit closer at what each of these are. So it looks like we've got a single lead vocal here with a double at the very, very end, single lead vocal here with a double in a couple of spots, and then this is an octave doubling, so it's essentially a harmony. So I will probably end up assigning this to just these two tracks to one VCA, and then this one to another VCA, and then maybe we'll just try for now. We'll do the rest of the lead vocal on a third VCA. So let's go ahead and assign these. So we want to go ahead and name them first. Okay, so let's go ahead and name these. We'll just call this one lead vocal verse, VCA moves. We'll call this one lead vocal verse octave, or actually even better is lead vocal octave verse VCA moves. And we'll call this lead vocal chorus VCA moves. Now, the reason I put VCA moves is sometimes I actually create group fader masters with VCAs to just have overall control over groups of faders. So like say have a VCA set up for all of the backing vocals. So if I'm listening to the mix and I'm just like objectively, what the backing vocals overall could come up half a dB or a dB or something like that. You can just set up a group of VCA masters for each of those sections, and then just be able to kind of trim things up and down a dB here, a dB there, which can be useful in mixing. Mostly that's mixing in the box that you would use that for. Really not that helpful for analog mixing. Okay, so let's go ahead and select the tracks that we're going to assign to the VCA faders. So the first set of tracks is going to be just the lead vocal and this little double. So I select those two tracks and then Command G group. I'm going to call that the same thing I did the VCA masters. So it's going to be lead vocal, verse, and it's going to be VCA moves. Okay, and we'll do the second set, which will be the octaves. Lead vocal octaves, verse, VCA moves. And then the rest, all these guys here, for the sake of argument, this might end up being more than one fader VCA master, but we'll just do it that way for now. Lead vocal, chorus, VCA moves. Okay, so now those are going to all appear here, right there. Lead vocal, verse, VCA moves, octave, chorus. That's in the groups section, the groups bin. So I'm going to deselect all three of these, and what we're going to do is we're going to assign each of these. Now, to make it even easier, a lot of times what I'll do is color code them. So I'll grab these and color code, let's say like a nice red. Then I'll color code the next ones to like a green. And then finally the rest of them to like a blue for now. That's good. So now I can easily see what they are. Now, of course, they abbreviate in the mixer narrow view, so that makes it kind of tough. So I'll put a note in the comments department, and I'll be like, let's see, lead vocal, verse, VCA moves, and I can tell what that is. Let's make that even more legible. There we go. Same here. This is going to be lead vocal, octave, verse, VCA moves. And finally, lead vocal, chorus, VCA moves. Okay, so now I can actually see what the hell is going on. All right, so these are all grouped. You can see the groups are active there. So I'm going to actually, oh, those are active groups that we had before. So that's fine. So those are grouped, those are ganged, so they're going to move together when they move. Okay, I'm going to put these in the center. Put all these in the center. Actually, these are lead vocals. Okay. All right. So let's just go ahead and I'm option clicking them to reset all of the orientations between the two tracks and bring them all down to 0. Now what we want to do is we want to assign these VCA masters. So the way we do that is we just go up here and it shows us all of the groups that are available to assign to these VCAs, and we're going to do, and we can only assign one group to one VCA at any given time. You can't do multiple VCA faders assigned to different groups. And once a group is assigned to a VCA fader, it can't be assigned to a different VCA faders or vice versa. So this is, and these are mutually exclusive. So we'll go verse, we're going to do octave, and we're going to do chorus. Now, these are going to trim, starting now they're at 0. They're going to trim whatever I have set up here, or I can actually sync them, which is what I prefer to do. So I'm going to actually sync this by there. Now they're just in sync. So I'm going to basically whatever level the VCA is set to, the verse is going to follow. So that's going to be my starting level. So if I say, you know, that's the level that I like for the song, and then I record in some moves on the VCA fader, I can still trim it at the channel fader. So let's sync up the rest of these while we're at it. Put to 0, so that's nice and synced up, and we'll do the same here. I'm just going to option click them, and now those are all synced up. So I'm going to start with just having them, you know, about -10, -12 dB. We'll figure out where they want to live in terms of what's their sort of comfortable volume in the song, and then we can kind of trim them based on the independent level of the channel fader. So now they're all out of whack here. So let's go back to that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that then. Okay, so now that we've got the VCAs all set up, we've got them assigned to their tracks and ready to go, we'll go ahead and start to do a little bit of automation moves on the next video.